Greetings, traveler. You've just landed on the Mikey and Me podcast, but fear not, for this is no mistake. No fault in the stars, no glitch in the matrix. I'm afraid this has all been planned by powers known not to us. So pull up a chair and join us so we may find our way together, for you are among friends.
Yep. It's good
Welcome.
to see you.
Good to see you as well.
We got CRT here.
We got CRT Chris.
Yep. Even though Chris couldn't make it, so we figured it'd be a perfect time to audition a potential replacement.
Yeah.
And we've got Tom Berenger.
Yeah, Tom Berenger.
And Billy Zane.
Billy Zane's in here. And a host full of other characters.
Yep. There's a sniper involved.
There is, so we'll just have to keep our eyes out, guys.
There's a sniper involved.
Speaking of which, just recently, I don't think it was a sniper, but as I was just telling you, apparently there were shots fired at the White House Correspondent Ball.
So was that today, the 25th?
Yeah, April.
Okay. Today's the 25th. I do know. So it was today, though?
Yeah, it was a little while ago. I mean, it was this evening.
Interesting.
I just saw something on the internet pop up about shots fired. And it showed them like rushing President Trump and First Lady Melania out. But it's like
so fat. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not here to speculate.
Oh,
I just saw that happened.
It's
like number one, I mean, why, like, I don't know. Yeah, why are you shooting? I don't know,
yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering how close they actually were. And how that could even be possible with the kind of
that's what I'm wondering.
I would expect.
That's what I'm kind of wondering. How
it almost seems like
something
really?
like that possible?
It seems kind of.
I know. It's either.
Did it sound like it? That's the problem with news nowadays. It's not validated. It's
the way everybody reacted.
Run with it.
The way everybody reacted, it was pretty. In the video, everybody was like ducking and running. They had like SWAT come up, or not SWAT, but Secret Service wearing all black and like ARs. They all like after they swept Trump away, they're ready, like standing there. It's interesting. I don't know. It is. Well, I'm like you though. It's like
they're probably just dumb Americans that are like, oh, the Strait of Hormuz. You know, let's get that sorted out. You know.
Yeah, it could be potentially.
Could be all tied to the strait, man.
The strait or the grays.
Or the grays.
But yeah, we're back, and I'm happy to be here. It's been, what, a month?
1 week since it...
oh, there you go. God, they don't make music like they used to, man.
No,
the
bare naked ladies are barely making it work.
Oh.
These daisies.
Okay, that was a stretch, but I like it. That worked pretty well.
You
that
got
actually was pretty
to get
good.
where you want to be sometimes.
But yeah, they don't make the music back then.
Sometimes
was
you gotta
definitely
stretch to hit the sweet spot.
It was a whole aesthetic. It had a look. It sounded like it looked like something. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
You know, it sounded like it looked like something.
I mean, I think even modern music does. I just feel like it looks like something that I really don't want to look at.
You don't want to look at it.
I might have been like, oh, I see that. I'm not gonna choose to look at it.
A picture
but
in your head.
I'd be like, that's cool. I don't want to look at it, but it's cool. I can respect it.
Like
not universally. Oh my gosh. You know?
Yeah, it's like the Die Antwoord. Did you hear about them?
Yeah, I'm a fan of them, so I don't want to hear anything bad about them.
Oh yeah, well,
Die Antwoord. Which one, Ninja? I mean, it had to be the
both
dude.
of them. I think it was both of them with I think their kid they had, or like an adopted kid or something.
They had a kid together.
I think abuse or something like that. Somehow.
I do want to know if it's true.
I don't know. Like it was you.
I don't know. I would have to substantiate that.
I think that's what I heard. Let's look it up.
I've only seen.
Let's look it up.
I've watched a documentary about him and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, people can turn into things over time that they really aren't.
Just because you liked something or their music or whatever doesn't mean
I have a hard time thinking. I could see maybe neglect or something.
I don't think that it means that you, what's it called? Like, just because somebody's done something bad at one point and you liked them in the beginning, I don't think that it means you
allegations of sex abuse from their adopted... they had adopted son too, so they had a kid together, I guess. Yeah. Against Ninja. So that's just the dude.
Yeah, but I think she
I can't. Actually, I can't. I think they might have talked about this.
I think she knew about it.
Yeah. Adopted son claims exploitation.
Allegations. Yeah, again.
Yeah, I'd have to know more. Again, you have to give ear to a person, but still, I'm sure. Who knows? hopefully it's not the case. And just if it was, I just pray everything comes to justice, however it should.
Yeah, I mean, usually those allegations don't. Most places don't run with those if it's just.
Yeah, it's
There's probably something.
There can be. I mean, there's got to be.
Maybe.
There's something. It could be ill will. It could be something, or it could be. I don't know. You should watch the doc. I mean, I've watched this documentary they put out maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was at least. I feel like you really get a window into. At least what would seem to be like the people they are.
Yeah.
And even the mindset of the culture they come from, because they're South African. And so it's like, I would like to know more, whatever's wrong happens, it's not good, obviously.
Yeah.
But again, it's just, the world's so twisted to where it's like terrible things happen, but then people know that. And so they try and take advantage of it. And it's just a sad thing. So,
That's true. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm just
saying I'm a ninja. Go. You never listen.
No, I never listened to him.
I am your butterfly.
I just remember him for what's it called.
I've seen him in concert.
I just remember from Chappie.
Dude,
from the movie Chappie.
I went on my way to see them in concert whenever they came here. Like whenever I was with Aaron, that was like that long ago.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was cool. But I wonder how it felt that night.
What?
That night, whenever I went to see them years ago, how it felt outside.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't know.
Was it a nice, cool night? I feel like it's been pretty cool so far. We're gonna be heating up pretty soon.
Like, what do you think the temperature's gonna be?
I think we're gonna be hitting like the upper 80s pretty soon.
Didn't it get past that?
Yeah, but I mean more consistently.
Gotcha. The average.
We're going to be averaging.
The 30-day moving average will be that.
High 80s.
It's like, wait, whenever he asks me something, it's a 30-day moving average answer.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good information to take in.
All right.
Have you've heard about these? Let's get into it a little bit. Let's talk about it for a minute. I'm curious. Do you have any hypotheses upon this situation of these scientists that have gone missing? I'd like to know. If you have any? If not,
I mean, it's.
I can tell you what I think.
Our good friend, I would like to be friends with Jesse Michels. American Alchemy and Alchemist.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he's been on Joe Rogan's. Joe Rogan's friends with the guy whenever he actually goes on their podcast too. I feel like.
Yeah.
Because he went on his within the last 2 months, but he's also a guy who like Bob Lazar when he's doing the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's with Bob Lazar. He's really into just a very grounded look at a lot of the things that we might think of like paranormal or conspiracy-ish, but like just a very, for me, just okay, this is a guy that I feel like he's looking at it the way I would, but he's like super smart and educated and does all this stuff. So it's like I think he puts out a good thing that's as legitimate as he can make it. But he did something, and I was just watching it. I think it came out this last week, where he's just talking about all the number of scientific or minds that have been like are privy to knowledge easily that a very small percentage of of humans at all have been, and how the ways and manners in which they've either been killed or disappeared, which we're talking about within the last 6 months. Like, it's like, wait, okay, there's something going on, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And he was like presenting different things that people speculate against, which some of those are interesting, even with like having like the one guy that was in New Mexico or something that just like wandered off and he left his phone and everything there, but he just took his gun. Yeah. But they never found a body. But it's like whether or not it's like they can speculate that he's alive somewhere in a weird witness protection thing, or that they took him because he's a potential like backup world, like almost like a board of directors for. We need these people to be as backups for running things if something else happens, because all these other people, like that lady that disappeared, that one dude, the MIT guy that was dealing with like trying to do with like energy and stuff. He got murdered outside his own home, and it was like some other guy he went to school with. I'm just saying it's all those things in isolation or whatever, but for all of them to happen within a relatively small frame of time, you have to at least acknowledge that.
It's weird. Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I mean, for the ones that have, without the whole, like, them actually finding people dead or confirming dead people, it's like, that's one thing, right? I don't know how. Here's a couple things. It could be that, and this is pure speculation, conspiracy theory, we're pulling into speculation station. So assume the position upon the wall of assumption. Because, say that these were potentially people that have been in our government that were spies. Say maybe we found out they're spies, and they're some of the ones that have, quote, disappeared have actually gone back to whatever country they were spies for, right? And then the ones that didn't, the ones that died, maybe, we took them out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, wild speculation. I'm thinking of this like a movie, right? We talk about movies, so I'm looking at it like, okay, what would be the plot here? Is it just that? Is it an angle of it could be either we had enemies from within, spies, and we can't just come out and say that, hey, we've had X amount of scientists that have been working for us for 20, 30 plus years that are working for other countries, so all of our knowledge on these subjects has been leaked to other countries.
Well, like that guy that did all the studies on the star stuff, that he was like leading the whole thing with them actually like constantly filming the sky, and that for him to be killed, whatever it is almost. It just made me think of the Bob Lazar stuff, where he's like almost like sometimes I feel like I'm the a-hole in the room. Like, oh, he shouldn't have been talking. Like everyone actually knew how to play. Like, yeah, we shouldn't talk about this, and I'm just too dumb to realize it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I thought of that because not to. What else do you want to say, kids? But not to jump, but to
I was just going to say that, it's like, okay, so what are the scenarios? That it's like that they were working for another country and then they started getting disappeared by our government and fleeing back to their governments, or B, there's outside enemies within our borders that are taking out these scientists, which it's like, if that's the case, that's not good.
Yeah.
And for our government to have been mostly kind of quiet about it, it is interesting.
It's very interesting. No, because this is the one 4 days ago he released it, talking about like why America's top scientists are going missing. He does a nice, hour and 47 minutes. His stuff is good. Like everything he puts out there, it's like something you would see on like a channel that would produce stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's talking about the Vera Rubin Observatory. That's the thing with the sky, with that one astronomer guy. But the pattern, scientists at the frontier of fusion, exotic propulsion, advanced metallurgy, and space surveillance are being silenced and taken out. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and it's.
So McCastin was the one guy, I think, in New Mexico, no, Arizona, whatever it is.
I mean, it's straight out of a movie,
dude. That's the thing. It's so out of a movie. Like the way these people are getting disappeared.
Yeah,
it's not like that. He won. Dude, they're talking about some of them who are like, he like some random. I don't remember the name of him. But like, he tied like a rope around his neck and drove his car down a reef and decapitated himself or something, and they like ruled it a suicide. Or just like the placement of things. It's almost like it doesn't whatever. They don't have to know the truth. You just have to give them something that they can latch onto.
Yeah.
Like the guy going out in the desert. Oh, he left with his gun. People are like, okay, he must have killed himself.
Yeah.
It's like we have, other than the fact that he took his gun.
Yeah, we have
nothing about what he exhibited before then made him seem suicidal. Nothing about nothing. You know what I mean? But it's like, but he took that. Cool, we can run with that. That's the most plausible thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's taking advantage of Occam's razor.
No, absolutely.
But dude, okay, no, yeah, it was making me think. That briefly made me think, and this is just like weird speculation. If you want to think about
absolutely. We're
aliens.
at speculation station.
Okay, like kind of going back to the Egypt stuff, let's say, like with the stuff that they found or with the whole,
Yes.
whatever those news radar, sonar, whatever that they would use, like, oh, we got these large spiral, cylinders going down all this far, and people would speculate if there's somehow some weird capturing energy or energy something maybe being tied, but it being, obviously, I don't know enough about energy, but like, whatever it is had to be in a way, obviously, we're not dealing with energy. In something Bob Lazar would say, but he never got into at all the specifics of what he meant. But I could tell that he had a lot of thoughts on it whenever he was talking, like, to Joe Rogan, whenever he was on there recently, about, like, what if everything that we are and our purpose for being is more or less being like food for an alien race, to put it like crudely, not that they're eating us, but for whatever our purpose is, like we're a resource of sorts, and that just kind of being the end of it, because he didn't even want to share what his thoughts might be, but it's like, what could that even be? Like, what does that even mean? But then who knows, I was thinking, okay, once you get past how we have rigid scientific, like if our science, it's not like provable, it's not true, but okay, metaphysics, those, whatever you believe about them or not. And this is absurd. I don't think this at all.
Yeah.
But the term, and I don't even, this term's probably been used, if not soul factory.
I think I've heard that.
Like what if Bob Lazar was somehow thinking like, yeah, they're capturing like the energy of our beings. Like it's like we can live and die, and that's great. They don't care about it. We live our lives, but we have charged souls that maybe they're stealing that energy of our soul and whatever our life force is, and that's what they're harvesting. And so we can live out here, kill each other, do whatever. They don't care, because the end product is they're getting whatever our metaphysical remains are or something. I don't know.
That's an interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what Lazar was saying?
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
That's what I kind of came up with, trying to think, what could he be thinking?
I see.
So in my internal game of
trying to
him, what could he be thinking about us kind of just being just almost like a resource, or just lower on the food chain, as though something that we're food in one way or another for something else.
I see what you mean.
It's where it's like, well, how could be with not eating us? They don't care what happens, but there's something special, and there's some whatever energy, metaphysics, whatever realms that you don't know. It's like maybe that's somehow maybe all those weird things are somehow channeling dead spirits and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it gets me back to Bible stuff, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
It just kind of was talking about. And not like I don't even know if you believe in the Bible and the end times and everything, that people right now that we know, they're not in heaven or hell yet. Like, you're not in heaven or hell yet. And like, even in the Old Testament, how like some witchcraft type lady, they get her to summon the ghost of Samuel, who's the man of God that died. In the Bible, like, she actually summons him. And he's almost like, why did you awaken me? So it's like, okay, like, it just goes to proof that, witchcraft and things and ghosts.
Yeah.
And that, when you're dead, at least then, I think now you're going to go to heaven, but I think that the game isn't over yet, obviously, in the Bible. So there's a place in between, and she was able to summon a man of God and him be there and be presented and be kind of like, why am I here? To it's like, that just gives you a lot to run with. Yeah,
it's almost like proof of concept to an extent.
Proof of concept. What if they're channeling that somehow?
Yeah, no,
in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is that it's like, I don't know, I've almost been like old William Cooper. Probably just got our page flagged for saying his name. But William Cooper, the guy who wrote the book Behold a Pale Horse, he talked about stuff he had seen. And it's funny, I've kind of like more or less started to somewhat, to an extent, like lean more towards what he was saying. But in the beginning, he really thought that, like, with the things he had seen, that he had a strong feeling and belief that aliens in some other life form did exist and they were real. But then at some point or another, he ended up kind of like, after, I guess, just different information and stuff he had seen, he no longer really started to believe that. And he more or less started to believe that it's our own government deceiving us that we're not, there is no other alien race. Is that it's like, you know, he talked about, because he was big into the ancient, like, mystery, what do you call it? The mystery religion of Babylon.
Okay.
Or whatever. And he says that, like, that, I mean, he believed that, you know, people like the elite, that's what, like, the Illuminati and all that, what they would be, he believed that what they believed in was, you know, like, they worship the intellect of man. Like, they talk about the sun, and, you know, the sun for them is, you know, like the intellect, the light. It's like Lucifer. So they worship Lucifer in a sense. It's like, so it's really interesting, like, where all he went with it. But I do almost at this point, it is interesting just because of, like, okay, well, how do you explain some of the older stuff? But then again, it's like, well, like you said, with the Bible, well, in the Bible, it talks about, like, an angel of light, and they talk about different, like,
things. So, like, there's spiritual, metaphysical stuff that's legitimate.
Yeah, and so it's like, if that was happening back then, I mean, we call it aliens. Back then, they probably called it gods, or they probably called it spirit, like angels. Like, they had a different word. Really,
I think, for, like, what dude, he was one way and kind of went the other. To where I feel like even Bob Lazar's, like, knowing enough about the history of our government that they're in the perfect position to where they'll mix BS up with the true stuff.
With the truth.
So it could be like, oh, I heard they said there's some crazy alien technology they found somewhere, and they'd be like, yeah, we're telling the alien part, but we didn't get, or that part's true, that part's not true, to where they just 50%, they like 50% of what I know is probably true, half is probably not true. So how can I believe anything?
And two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
And half the time, I feel like with most of this stuff, they don't even have to do anything. Like, there can be regular innocuous things that'll happen.
They just kind of like, that worked out.
Well, yeah, and things will happen, and then people will just start jumping to conclusion and say stuff. And I believe a lot of time we're probably not even on the marker with it.
Yeah.
And so people are like just totally off the map with what they're saying, and they're just like, oh,
we're playing into it. So probably perfectly. And the thing is, if we're not, it didn't even matter, because we might as well think that we are. You know.
No, but yeah, it's like I think that, I mean, I've definitely seen that one thing I saw years ago in the sky that I thought was a shooting star that literally shot across the sky, stopped, paused for like maybe 5-6 seconds, and then shot off in a different direction. Like that. From that moment on, I was like, okay, I don't know what I just saw. Did I just see some technology that we have that we just don't know about?
Right.
Or did I legitimately see an alien? Because I don't know how to explain something that was moving like a shooting star that just, and then it's like, that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And so I can't explain that. And I don't think anybody can really explain that. But it wouldn't surprise me. And then also, too, like the guy Tim Burchett, I think he was talking about how our government, at one point, one of our military jets or something, we had been tracking something that was like as big as a football field.
It's about under the ocean?
Moving under the ocean. And like, it was as big as a football field, and it was moving at like...
supposedly there's
an incredible speed.
Yeah, just
and so it's like...
the same, you're describing the air doing that in the ocean.
Yeah.
But moving at those same paces.
Well, and that was what, in his book, Behold a Pale Horse, William Cooper talked about. He said he mentioned, like, in the very beginning, one of his first stories was talking about how he was in the Navy. And what do they call it? Corpsman? Or was that... No, that's Marine Corps. But...
Seaman?
So he was a seaman, and he was one of his jobs was to like do, you know, I'm sure it was most everybody's job at some point or another, but he had to go out on watch. And so him and another guy were tasked with just going up top and scanning the horizon from left to right and just scanning all around. And so the one guy was like with him, and they're both scanning to where at the same time, like they're all covering, you know, everything at once. And so they're just looking around, and he said at one point they see this like craft. He sees this craft come flying into the water and crashing into the water. And he said that like he looks at, you know, the guy that he's with. He's like, "Did you see that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so they both witnessed this massive craft come flying into the water. And then he said that like there was no you couldn't see any other part of it. It just went into the water and disappeared. They saw no wreckage, nothing. He said that after sitting there and scanning for a little while longer, that object came back out of the water. and went and flew off. And he was just totally like flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And then he ended up like they reported it to their superiors, and he said that like the other guy he was with went.
Right, great. Cool. Just don't talk about this.
Yeah. He said the other guy that was with him went into the office first, and he got kind of heard them talking in there. But then he said when he came out, the guy like didn't even look at him and just kind of like had his head down or whatever, and like was very kind of shell shocked, and then just left. And so he went in there, and they were like, what'd you see? And William Cooper was like, well, I saw like a craft like, crash into the water, and then I saw it come back out a while later. And they're like, what'd you see? He's like, I saw a craft crash into the water. He's like, and then the guy like slammed his hand on the table. He's like, what'd you see?
Like,
and then he was like, I didn't see anything. And he was like, that's good. And he was like,
good,
yeah,
sign this.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, we need more men like you. And so he said at that moment on, it like changed a lot of what he ever thought, because too, he realized that like, wait a minute, why are we, obviously you guys know whatever that was.
Yeah.
Because you're not concerned about me telling you. You're not interested in what I have to tell you.
Yeah,
so obviously
I don't share whatever it is.
So obviously you already know about whatever just crashed into the water and shot out. That's information that you know about.
Yeah.
That's why you're not like, wait, what'd you see?
Yeah.
You're like, what did you see? And so that for him changed things, because he realized like, okay, we're being misled. We're not being shared the truth. And then he kind of did his own dig, came up with info, and then eventually he kind of changed his perspective, because he looked at things also too on like the whole, from the secret society standpoint of how you could use the faked, like with Project Bluebeam, where it's like a faked Blue Book. Was it Blue Book or Bluebeam?
I thought it was Blue Book.
Project Blue Book, probably. You're probably right. Either way.
We want our listeners to know the truth.
But either way, it was like more or less with the theory that, for those who don't know, Project Bluebeam is where the pretty much fake an alien invasion. You would use, because think of it like this: if we do have anti-gravitational technology,
Blue Book was something too, though.
Yeah,
they both exist.
They both exist. Okay. Because that's what, when you said Blue Book, I'm like, no, yeah, you're actually right. I think that is it.
But Bluebeam does exist too.
But Blue Beam, I believe, is the one with the fake alien invasion. That's the one, is that kind of theory. Yeah. Because the fake invasion would, like it said, facilitate a totalitarian government. So he more or less, since he saw what secret societies do and how invested they are and how much they control, he looked at it as being probably more or less like the most likely outcome of what's really going on, is that we do have access to technology that was lost to most of mankind or whatever. Our technology is far superior than what we know about. Yeah. And, we probably have this, and if anything, at some point they would use this to avoid us from going to like a global catastrophe, global war, to save us, and then like, oh, we fight the aliens.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Humanity gets together, we recognize that we should all be one.
Right. But then again, with that comes one world government. And so he's saying that he believes that whole theory would be that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was
I mean, one way or another, whether it's in my lifetime or not, I expect some version of, whatever the Bible says, I believe is going to happen. How that's going to look, I don't know exactly. And we have the details that some people could say, okay, we can feel X% confident that this is pretty clearly this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think like a unification, one world type government scenario with the end times, I think that's pretty aligned to where, however we get there.
Yes. Yeah.
And we know that there's going to be signs and wonders. We know that like someone's going to get like a fatal wound and like not die, like whether it's an antichrist or like some component of that, to where how well that's going to precipitate and manifest. Just if you try and think about, I could easily see it being like people buying into it being an alien thing more than thinking it's spiritual. Yeah. To be like, oh, this alien is come here to help us.
Yes.
This alien has these powers and doing these things, and it's being like, that's a spiritual entity that's like tricking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's going to happen one way or the other. So it's like, right now, that's like the most plausible thing I can think of, some version of that.
Yeah, man. Isn't it crazy how like sometimes what you thought would have been the craziest like reason or outcome is somehow also at the same time it seems like it could potentially be the most logical reason or outcome, if that makes sense. Like, for instance, like thinking
all
about
of this stuff.
Like, yeah, with all of this stuff, all of this crazy things we see and things like that, we
leading
think of
up
it as
to
again,
like humanity being able to believe in whatever that's all going to be in magic or
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like with the like the fact that like again we invent these with technology as it advances and things like that. We think of the reasons of causes of things with more knowledge we have of of advancing technologies and the concept of other civilizations existing. It's like we start to, with that knowledge, we start to dream up different realities of like, well, this could be happening. It does make sense if we exist in this space that there's who's to say somebody, because we love to make sure that we give space to other people they could exist too.
Yes,
so we love to do that.
Right.
So so we sit here and we think,
well,
other places could
don't have a faith for them to believe life is out there. I feel like it's a close thing to believing in a God. Almost like, are we really alone in the universe?
Yeah, and so for me, it's like I look at it like what I meant by that about how like the craziest outcome is almost sometimes it could be the most realistic. Is that like with all this knowledge of these other things, we start to okay, well, this could be the situation, this could be the situation, but then you go back to stuff like the Bible. And even other texts and stuff that talks about like witchcraft and things like that, and spiritual, demons, angels and demons, and exorcisms and stuff.
Yeah,
we'll
be the quickest to discount things actually being spiritual evil, but it's like, wait, no, we have to remember that is real.
Yes, it's actually
that's
real.
Actually legitimate.
It's not.
Ghost
that's the thing.
Inspectors, that's real.
Yeah,
that's real.
And that's what I'm saying is that like, and two, again, how that almost in another way for me becomes evidence. It's a different conversation, I understand, but to me, some of those things are almost evidence as to the existence of God, Jesus Christ, and the things that happen in the Bible. Agree. Because it's like, again, okay, well, if you're going to give credence to this and say that witchcraft works and that doing this and doing all these potions and putting these things together and like performing,
you believe in something supernatural.
You believe that that's working. So to me, it's almost like saying that you believe in heads but not tails. Yeah. Well, how can you do that if you wouldn't have heads without tails?
What's the ecosystem in which that works?
Yeah, it's like, to me, you wouldn't have...
What's the opposite of that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, like it's trying to say you have heads without tails. Well, you wouldn't have a tail without a head, and you wouldn't have a head without a tail. Exactly. You can't... The very fact that you say you have one, that implies that there's the other side. Yeah. The very fact you say that, hey, this darkness exists, then that means light also exists.
Yeah, a good version of that exists.
So that's kind of what's crazy to me to an extent. Is that it's like how that slips past so many of us.
It's like, unless you tell me you just actually believe that only evil versions of this stuff exist. I'm like,
yes. And then everybody, or there's the people that might be like, oh, well, it's all just kind of subjective and gray, and what's evil to you isn't evil to somebody else. And it's like,
I know, but it's like,
I feel like if you're one of those people
in like a real life scenario, it's funny when people game it out.
Yeah. And I feel like some of those people, though, that want to game it out like that are like, well, I feel like you fall in the anomaly of people where it's like, if we go off of anything else scientifically speaking, people would, it's like you would look at the majority of something in a poll or something, and it's like I think the majority of people would probably think differently.
Yeah, I know.
But no, it's like, where was I? What else was I saying? I feel like I forgot to finish what I was saying. Maybe.
I know we're just talking about things. It's like that's the craziest thing, but that's actually that makes the most sense for
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that might have just mostly been out there. Might have been another thing, but yeah, that is wild.
We're just expanding on
like
that.
For instance, like with when you do go look up actual accounts and documentaries on things about exorcisms. How do you explain the one thing for me that like throws me for a loop is how do you explain like kids like that have had exorcisms in America or stuff like that? I've heard stories, and I feel like I've even seen videos where it's like, how do you explain like a kid speaking Latin? Like
does that really happen?
Yeah, like in exorcisms, I've heard like watch documentaries or like YouTube things on like priests like giving accounts of exorcisms, and like the person you just start speaking Latin, and it's like, how do you, if the person's never spoke Latin and they're not, it's like that. How do you explain stuff like that?
Yeah,
it's like
not through natural means.
No, exactly. And so for me, it's just like,
saying, you don't even have to believe in the Bible. You can just at least acknowledge that there's something else at play here.
Yes,
Get
exactly.
me that
you
far.
Yes.
There's something more than what we're seeing.
And so that to me is that it's like, okay, so if those things exist, then technically some of what we're seeing, it could explain why it's like so elusive or so unexplainable, is because it's something that's almost unbelievable.
He could talk about kind of the Bible and these different things.
It's easier to believe that it's aliens, it's another civilization, another species. It's more easy to believe that than
how
it is to
ghosts
believe
even
in
exist.
supernatural.
He was bringing up
demonic,
different
or
interpretations,
supernatural, like
and things he thinks of or whatever.
But then we were reading some of these Bible verses, and in terms of this, of like ghosts existing, or what the Bible says about them. And you brought up that about Samuel's ghost.
Yeah, about in the Old Testament. So one of God's prophets, Samuel, it's before David becomes king. So the first king before him was Saul, who was the first king ever of the Israelites, because they wanted a king because all the other nations had kings, and it's like, we want a king too. Before that, that's when they had the judges. So they have the book Joshua, Judges. Judges were basically like badasses that God had that ran things, but God was their king. God is like, you don't need a king, you have me. But they wanted one, so I gave them one, and that's like a whole interesting thing in itself. So that's the whole reason they even end up having kings. But so King Saul is like, he's out on the outs of God because he disobeyed him, and he's terrified because Philistines are about to fight Israel. And so Saul himself had already banned mediums, which were a known thing, basically back then, even mediums, spirit summoners.
And so in the Bible, it talks about him banning mediums.
Yeah, that he had already done that. And so, but he's so desperate that the King Saul disguises himself, and he goes to this woman that's known to be like a spiritist, and she performs this ritual. But then the Bible even says that she's like surprised when she sees an old man wrapped in a robe, like appear, that like is basically indicated to be Samuel. And then Samuel says, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" And that Samuel's ghost basically confirms everything that ends up happening. That God's left King Saul, that the king has been torn from him and to be given to King David, who he ends up having Solomon and everything, right? But so all accounts like that, she summoned the ghost of a man of God in the Old Testament.
Yeah, and so scroll down to what you were to Leviticus, where it shows. Okay, right here. So so this is what I thought was interesting, because I was talking to somebody recently about like experience they had regarding like a supernatural experience, like with not a Ouija board, but another type of thing, where they were saying they were getting these answers, and it was like at one point saying God, like before they went any further, they were like, is this good for me? And it came back, no, like I don't need to be doing this. And one of the things that I thought was interesting that I was trying to that I told this person was that it was like that's the thing that I think is crazy, is that people like it. So with it saying right here, Leviticus 19:31, do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists. So it right there, by saying that, it's that's what's kind of weird to me, is how people can believe in mediums, people can believe in like spirits and ghosts, and they can do this and practice this, but like they don't believe, like in the Bible, it's acknowledging that this is real. It's acknowledging that this exists. It's not saying this isn't real. It's saying, don't do this. This is real. It exists. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And so what's wild to me is just that how we casually, I feel like people were willing to ignore that, because since you can see proof, quote, proof of this in some weird supernatural way, you know, because it's easier to seek out proof with this rather than like it is for people to see proof of God whenever somebody comes up and does a nice deed for them. They just think that, oh, that person is just a good Samaritan, rather than thinking like, well, out of all the people and all the times a day, the fact that that person, I'm the one they helped, or I'm the one that did something for, or like, you know.
Well, and then, and the crazy thing about it all is like, if you could try and pretend like you didn't know anything about the Bible or Jesus, if someone said, "Hey, God's gonna bring," you didn't have to say it's the Son of God, that you're gonna see a man brought back to life, like you can see a man die and come back to life. That says he's going to, and it'd be like the real deal. For how long? Like even for you yourself, would it take to be like, I don't think that was real or that really happened. But if you saw that happened, I think it would be impossible to not be like, and you saw people like, dude, we saw that guy come back to life. Like, yeah, we did. Be like, we saw that guy come back to life. Like, we saw that. Like, that would be important, especially if the guy talked about it beforehand, especially if there was a lot built, like, to be like, okay, this is something we're going to have to make sure that we talk about and people remember, right? And that's basically Jesus. That's basically how the world still knows about him. And that was, 2,000 whatever years ago. To where there's as much evidence for that actually happening from something that long ago that there possibly can be. You know, which I've learned more about was it the Shroud of
I know what you're talking about.
Where like there's some really cool stuff on that, just even scientifically. Like it's probably the closest scientific proof what the studies have done on it that something supernatural happened around that. That's not explainable by modern science. And it just being like, at what point, what more evidence does God need to do? You know?
Yeah, and that's even like even the staircase. Because that's the one thing I've heard people talking about that shroud, or I've heard different evidence like recently where they.
There's a Sean Ryan show within the last couple of weeks. I was showing my dad.
I was gonna say where there
Jeremiah Johnson. He talks about the science behind the studies they did with even that shroud, like the image and things being on there in a certain way that it was. They couldn't replicate that in the lab. That would be like the thing would either burn up or they could do like a tiny part of it at once.
That's what I was gonna say. Because then I also heard I saw another thing that was showing evidence saying that like more or less it could have possibly been replicated, and it seemed like they laid out a pretty good like, oh, okay, I guess I can understand that. That doesn't mean I believe it. Doesn't mean I believe. You know, it was just so all that to say. It seems like people are doing the best job they can to try and debunk that. But one thing that I think is kind of more, like that to me is very impressive. And like, okay, how do you do that? Like you said, the fact that you have to go through that much to try and understand how to how could you replicate this is like, tells you that, okay, so you can replicate it, but it would have been super involved and super difficult. And like, so what's the likelihood of somebody doing that?
When we could barely figure out how to do it now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, we can barely figure out how to replicate it now.
In 50 years, we might be able to get something like this. Be like, okay.
But one of the things that I think is like that we talked about it on one of our early episodes. I had brought it up just.
That was a great episode, by the way.
The staircase, about how that staircase in that chapel. I can't remember what it's called. But like that'd be a good story to show your dad. Like show him that video. Because
you sent it to me. I remember us looking about it. I remember what to look up.
Yeah. So the staircase, essentially, to refresh the memory of everybody, is it was a staircase in a chapel that this church like needed a staircase built, and I think they prayed about it or something like for a carpenter like or somebody to come build this staircase, and. Eventually, it was like the next day or that same day or something, somebody showed up and they ended up, saying like, hey, I'll build the staircase. And as far as I can remember from the story, I think the way it goes, it's been a long time since I've, since we talked about it, I think that I remember hearing it. But that what happened was that like he said he would come back or whatever and do it tomorrow or something. But he did the work when nobody was there, and it happened in like a day or an evening. They came back like a day or whatever, and it was done. So it was like in the middle of the night, somebody built this, and they can't figure. It's one solid piece.
Yeah, I remember that.
They can't figure out how it would have been joined or where it would be joined. It's one, as far as they can tell, it's
kind
one
of like
solid
the gazebo
piece.
And Meet the Parents.
Yes, carved it all out of one piece of wood.
Yeah.
So it's one solid piece, and also two, as far as I remember, they were saying it was an unfamiliar type of wood. They're not familiar with what type of wood it is either. To where it's like, okay, again,
no one knows
today
about that.
Today, even to this day, like you said, we can't figure out how this happened or how to replicate this to this day with this wood. Our modern science, like people have looked at it and they're like, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And the fact that this stranger showed up, didn't take any payment, built it in a night, and look it up. What is it called? Like mysterious spiral staircase in church. I can't remember. Like, I would just type in that. Spiral, yeah. Hang tight.
I'm not asking you to make an image.
You know, that's something people don't say that too enough. Hang tight. Hang tight.
ChatGPT's got a new upgrade to 5.5 that
Friday.
It's funny, probably not going to notice it much unless you're working like...
The Loretto Chapel.
Yeah.
Okay, right here. It's a spiral staircase built in the 1800s that became famous because it makes two full 360-degree turns. It has no obvious central support. It was originally built without a hand drill. Its builder was reportedly an unknown carpenter who appeared, built it, and disappeared. So yeah, how long did it say it took him to build it?
That's all it says.
Ask it how. Hang on, scroll down and see what else we got.
I'm curious, like why does it fascinate people so structurally? Let's see, because it looks impossible. Because it seems unsupported. It's not magic, but engineering sense. Let's see, build a theory. Common side theory is a staircase may have been built by Francois Jean Frenchy Rochas. It didn't say how many days anywhere. Either way,
yeah. So it's like I think ask it if it said what was that question? I just wondered.
How long was the guy? How long?
Yeah, how long did it take? Because, like I said, I think in the story it included that it was like a short period of time, which makes it even more.
The user story says it took several months. Common given 6 to 8.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it was longer.
But there are more dramatic versions. Said it was overnight.
Okay.
But the more grounded accounts say months, not one night.
There you go. So yeah, either way, it's still, as far as I know, it's still like is an engineering feat, 1800s, and it's like
again, and it's different. That made me think of, but it made me think of earlier. I was thinking of it when you were saying something, almost just about people can think that. That somewhere somehow things are being kept tabs of things are being watched or controlled to some degree, and this could easily be evidence of that as much or more so, or the opposite. But regardless of which way it swings, I'll every now and then think about that Malaysian flight completely disappearing. That's still every now and then I think like that's an interesting pill to swallow. Whatever's behind that, if it's literally just circumstances and this showing us that we aren't able to keep watching everything, or people were behind it or not, just the fact that it
gone like without a
got
trace.
Away with it, and even the people that were fighting that wouldn't be controlled by the masses being like not finding it's like And even more ridiculous recent thing to bring up would be that freaking newscaster's mom getting kidnapped during the Olympics, right before the Olympics go on.
Yeah.
All this stuff, even the disappearing doctors, all the footage is like, well, either things have been scrubbed, or we really don't. We think people are on top of things way more than they are, or they are on top of them, or it's both.
Or maybe that's kind of one thing I've thought about is that it's like maybe things are a lot worse and a lot more dire than we think, because that's the thing. Majority of the time we rely on like the news to panic.
And
we rely on the news to give us that info.
I think they say comfort thinking, even if they're not the best people, at least someone's in control.
Yeah.
Maybe
like don't
nobody's
look up
in control.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, too, there was something you had said that... oh, gosh, what was it? I lost it.
All right. Well, we could show a trailer at the end. If we don't, that's fine. Because I just kind of want to... And you can make up what you're bringing. If not, I'll just kind of bring up the one thing I'd been researching.
Yeah, hang on. Let me...
get back to it.
Yeah, because what were you saying just a second ago?
I was just talking about how that Malaysian flight that we could actually still
Did you hear,
not know what's going on there.
the Bermuda Triangle. Did you hear of recently what people were saying? I guess like there's been some new discovery or something, or people made a connection about the Bermuda Triangle.
No, let's
see. So it has to do with electric eel breeding. And people were saying something about like the activity of electric eel breeding and how like in the time of year, because they talk about like the time of year people go missing. And they were saying about like the time of year people go missing and when electric eels, because they like congregate there to like breed or something.
This is the Bermuda Triangle overlaps Sargasso Sea region, connect to American eels and European eels, because they migrate there to spawn.
Yes, they migrate there to spawn.
That they're electric eels are not the same animals. They're South American freshwater fish, not true migrating eels. So eels come from Bermuda Triangle. Idea applies to American and European eels, not electric ones. So the source can kind of interpost in casual discussions. Sometimes ask whether electric eels migrate to Bermuda Triangle. I don't know.
I don't know. But I guess maybe the one thing I heard that people were confused saying that it was electric eels that were going there, and that was like could have been causing interference with like plane equipment, because that's why they were saying that could have been what caused, because they talk about how like plane equipment malfunctions and stuff over the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah,
it's like compasses mess up, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I've never flown over it.
I mean, I've been there a couple times, but it's not that
great.
Dang.
Damn, next time invite me, would you?
Yeah.
So what'd you have?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and this is like, I at least want to show Cool Hand Luke trailer, but or should I talk about the one thing I researched first?
Talk about it and then show the trailer later.
Yeah. So it's something I've been having, I guess, fun, but with like that NotebookLM they use with the Google to organize all their stuff on, like all the like random cool things, like presentations I might make on. So I'll just, for you, I'll just have it up on, let's see. I might as well just share it just to, what's this one? Oh.
I wonder if this will cause any problems like on YouTube. If it'll be able to, do you think it'll be able
No, I don't think it'll cause any problems.
That'd be funny. If
I'm not worried about that.
It would be funny.
It would have the people who own the rights to Sniper somehow going out of the way to make a point or like have submitted. It's like, yeah. But no, yeah. So because like NotebookLM, you upload a link if if it's websites or PDFs or text or videos, you can just like, it only works off the sources you give it. But like one of the things you can do is like you upload whatever sources you want it to have. You can just basically use the AI Gemini Google, which is like, it's a top tier, it's a frontier AI, to talk with the information directly or produce all these things, like one of them being a PowerPoint presentation. Some things I've made before, it's through this, or video overview now, a mind map, like all these learning tools basically. But one of the coolest ones is audio overview, where it'll basically make a two-person podcast that's discussing whatever sources you put in there.
Yeah.
To where I've been like, okay, I want to just general concepts I kind of know about, but I'd like to know more about. Like as broad as things I've done, and I'll just show you. Like the most recent one I did was history of rock and roll. I'm like, I would like to just know more about the actual history of rock and roll music.
Yeah.
So I had one where there's a thing that they have a function where you can do a research where it researched the internet for all this sites and history about rock and roll. And then I was able to make a short podcast about it and listen to it and learned about it. And they have a very engaging conversation when they do it. And you can even just put notes in how you want it to be. And they even have a thing where you can actively talk in it if you want. I haven't messed with that. But either way, it's just a crazy way to learn about anything you want to. So I've been doing it with different things. I was doing it Greek mythology. I want to actually know more about Greek mythology and how, especially as a Christian, what point did that, these exist, or why would that how'd that come up? Just understand it better.
Yeah.
So it was cool. I did it
It's really neat.
It is. So I do it this language and thought. But a fun one I did recently is game theory. That's the one I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
You've probably heard game theory before.
I do believe I have, yes.
Yeah.
Refresh the memory of others.
But I'm saying, it's something that I've heard throughout a lot of my life, but I've never been really told, okay, I kind of hear it, I kind of think I know what it is, but I don't really know how I would describe it.
And I think I might find this funny for what you're bringing up because of what my recommendation of the week is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I and I'm just going to say this, but I'm not going to explain it. But this example, if you've maybe heard of the prisoner's dilemma, I don't know. That's probably the most famous. It's almost it's like a lawyer type thing. Lawyers in law school learn about it basically, to where if you got two criminals that were doing a crime together that got caught, and then they were immediately separated and put in different interrogation rooms, and they're both told the same thing. Hey, you could rat on your friend, will you go free, or you could stay quiet, and if your friend rats out on you, you get the maximum penalty, or if your friend's quiet too, you'll get 3 years. Or so basically, it's a matter of what's my best choice to make. To where okay, if I try and rat on my friend, I could go out free. If I try and rat him out, and he also tries and rats me out, we'll both go to jail for 5 years, or if I try and rat him out, or I don't try and rat him out, and he rats, it comes down to what's the best decision, no matter what, to have the best output.
Okay.
And based on general human nature, it would be that you're hedging your bets by if you rat on him, because you're gonna. And I was trying to think, well, how do I sum up easiest? And I would say it is you're avoiding the worst case scenario. Because the worst case scenario would be I'm going to not rat my buddy out, but he rats me out. I get the max, he goes free. That's the worst case scenario. Uh-huh. But if no matter what, I'm going to rat him out, you're avoiding the 10 years. You could be that you both rat each other out and you get 5, or you could win and be like, oh, I ratted him out, he didn't. And outside of, if I'm getting killed by the mob or something, what do you think? I got the best. Uh-huh. So I'm avoiding the worst case scenario is the smartest logical choice. Yes. And that's a component of game theory. But this is the simplest way to put it. And I love this. The podcast said it this way. It's basically coming up with mathematical models around strategic interaction. So strategic interaction, basically strategic interaction between you and obviously another entity that has agency. Okay. I'm just saying that to be you can expect two people. Yeah. It's not like me and the weather. That would be deterministic. Okay, I'm going to bring an umbrella today because I think it's going to rain. Mm-hmm. But the weather's the weather. It's not a rational thinking thing. But it's where game theory can be as easy as, I just met a girl. I'm going to wait to text her so she texts me.
I got you.
I'm strategically delaying sending a message, hoping that in the end game, she's going to want me more, she's going to miss me more, whatever. Yeah. But that is a simple thing of game theory. Basically, strategic interaction.
Got you.
So really, everything, especially the economy, falls under game theory. And just everything basically trying to reduce. If they take a loss, it'd be the most minimum loss possible. So I want to maximize as much money as I make, but I also want to set myself up to be, if I lose, it's the least amount possible.
Exactly.
So it doesn't give you the total max, but it gives you the maximum minimum. But it's basically, that's the way we function naturally almost.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is.
Even with like a girl texting. To be like, oh, I'm in max.
I don't want to be too eager.
Yeah, like I could shoot my shot and it pay off, but like I want to kind of be distant, not set myself up for too much. Like, okay, well, she ditches me. Well, shoot, I've already talking to another girl. Or I already got, but it's technically that's all game theory.
Wow.
So I just thought it was interesting being like, okay, well, shoot, it's that simple. It's just trying to understand and give mathematical models to human or strategic interaction, which is almost every interaction you have that's not like with a close enough person to not have any, like even at work, like I'm cool. My boss would be like, okay, I'm gonna say this way, or I'm gonna present myself this way.
I'll make this joke because it's safe.
Like basically, the moment you walk out the door, you're probably living in a mode of game theory.
Yeah,
you're
you're right.
You're not being 100% free yourself, not worried about what the response might be. It's kind of interesting.
No, that is interesting.
And that's it. I just want to share that because it's one of those things I learned more about, and I was strategic interaction. That's interesting.
No, it is. That's something to chew on too, and think about, like just about how, because like you said, it's something you pretty much anybody who hears that is going to be like, yeah, I do that.
Yeah,
like
it's basically just giving description to humans in the way we interact with each other, all trying to. Yeah, and there's just another interesting thing. This I would say is a takeaway that they did all these like scenario tests and simulations. And this might have been in the 70s at this point, but so there'd be basically it was like the prisoner's dilemma. It was the safest bet to rat out no matter what. But like when they give scenarios where there's like two parties, and you have the opportunity to both go in like, okay, I'm gonna go in thinking the best of humanity. I'm gonna go in thinking the best. I'm not gonna rat my guy out.
Yeah.
Because I think he's not gonna rat me out, and we'll both end out with only 1 year. Which either way, that's kind of just thinking that there's good. And the other side, this is called tit-for-tat. Basically, like they did all these simulations where this one guy just said, "Hey, I'm gonna go in and always choose the good choice, like whatever it is." But then if the other if the other person chooses against me, the very next time I'm going to like retaliate. So tit for tat, basically, if I'll start choosing good, and I'll keep choosing good as long as you do.
Yeah.
But the first time you screw me, I'm going to screw you up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? To where and that was like kind of like a wrench in game theory that humans aren't rational actors at all times.
No.
Right? And that being the whole thing, to where like in the fact that we're not being like, hey, somebody could choose to try and take faith, the good, and then it'll keep going that way until somebody goes wrong and then they screw it up. And it's like they call it like tit for tat, like tit for tat mentality.
That makes sense.
Where like, hey, we'll be best buddies, but the moment you hiss me up, you're done.
No más.
So it was just interesting.
No, that is interesting.
But 1967. I think that was around the year they talked about some of those things, and before probably.
It is probably. Yeah, so let's see, 1914, 967.
So, a good handful of movies came out this year.
Yes. I didn't really, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really did not watch anything specifically from this year.
But you have before, so I'll just read off some of them real quick.
So you go ahead. This is going to be all
I'll blow through this, and I'll show at least one trailer.
Yep.
So The Graduate came out this year. That, as Dustin Hoffman and Bancroft, there's some famous imagery from that, with just kind of the young college guy being seduced by an older woman.
Which I saw not long ago with Allie and I.
You watched The Graduate?
The Graduate, yeah, where he's
there you go,
Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah,
we watched
that famous song. Hey, Mrs. Robinson. That's the origin of that song.
So we did watch that not long ago. And
Dustin
actually,
Hoffman was
I will say that was a fantastic movie. It was a great movie.
Dustin Hoffman. I'm
underrated.
I guess his prime was 10, 15 years before us. Hook, like whenever I was young.
But he's just not somebody. You're right, but he's not somebody like you hear people like Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, people like that still get hailed today. Yeah. But it's like
it is his prime young man acting. Dude, Dustin Hoffman tore it up. Even that one movie from a couple episodes ago, I talked about. They did the remake with the dude Straw Dogs.
Yes.
The original with Dustin Hoffman, dude. Mm-hmm. Like he carried that role. See, Bonnie and Clyde came out this year. That Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway, playtime. Let's see.
That's funny. You brought up Bonnie and Clyde. Recently, I had a customer of mine where we usually sit out back, my dad and I, and we'll talk to this customer. And we got on the subject of Bonnie and Clyde.
Really?
And yeah, because Bonnie's buried somewhere here in Dallas.
Oh yeah, that's
cemeteries. Right. And I was saying that because at the time back in the day when I worked at Palm Beach Tan, there was a dude that came in there that worked at one of the funeral homes here in Dallas, and like he wanted to get a tan because he didn't want to just seem like a pale, pasty mortuary guy, something, And so, but he had said that that's where Bonnie was buried down there, and I asked him about Clyde, and he's like, no, they moved him, and they said they put him in an unmarked grave.
I think I remember hearing that. They didn't want to give him the honor of it or something.
Well, no, not that. It was he was saying they were getting too many, like, vandalisms. People were, like, breaking his gravestone and doing all kinds of crazy shit. And I was like, really? And he said, yeah. And I'm like, what? Like, why? And he was like, well, I mean, they killed a lot of people's family members.
They probably wanted to, like, desecrate those bones.
Well, yeah, they were wanting to desecrate the grave because it was like, think about it. Like, you don't think about it. So they got killed in, like, 1930-something. And so, I mean, if somebody was killed, they could have killed, realistically, like, somebody's grandparents, like our parents' grandparents. Something like that. That would have been somebody that they realistically could have shot and killed.
Yeah.
It's like, it's interesting to think about. You're like, oh,
yeah,
I
that
guess
motherfucker's
so.
buried there? All right.
Yeah. Oh, that dude killed my grandpa. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
don't think of it like that.
You don't.
Like, but it's like, sense. Oh, wow. Like, yeah, I guess I would think of it more removed is that it's like, oh, well, that happened years ago.
It's almost like, yeah, well, they don't want to foot the bill to put it somewhere secure. Yeah. He didn't deserve that. So
yeah. So then they just unmarked it. They made it unmarked to where it was
people
like,
going around. Guys, do you see where we buried him?
Yeah, exactly.
That unmarked grave?
Like, this one? Yeah. But yeah, either way.
No, but that's a pretty fun insight from the film. So this film, when it came out, the Bonnie and Clyde film, broke the production code that it used squibs, explosive fake blood packets, and rapid fire editing during the finale. That apparently violence hadn't really been displayed like that in cinema. So that's cool.
That is interesting.
Let's see. Yeah, in the heat of the night, that's Sidney Poitier doing some stuff in there. And he shows up. Point Blank was the one I started watching. John Borman directed it, neo-noir. Definitely, it was cool. You're getting to see a style that I feel like you see in modern times with the way editing and things are shot with flashbacks and stuff that almost seem, I feel like, a commonplace and maybe almost annoying now. But you could tell, like at least my kind of takeaway is like, this was like the genesis of that, in it being in like neo noir to like the core, Let's see, we had Cool Hand Luke. This was the one movie that I really watched, which is one I've heard about my whole life, but I haven't sat down and watched Cool Hand Luke. And Paul Newman.
No man can eat. What is it? 20 hard-boiled eggs.
Yep,
what is
it? It's something ridiculous, and that's being like the most famous thing I know about him, him eating all those eggs.
I was gonna say that's the reason I said that is because of Chris. Dude. I feel like Chris has said that line. No man can eat 20 hard-boiled eggs.
I feel like maybe as Chris saw that young, and that kind of put in his mind that he could eat as much as
hard-boiled eggs.
I mean, I
Chris
remember
is a hard-boiled egg guy.
In Denton one time, we'd go to Jack the Box late after the bars. I just remember we were talking about like who could eat more tacos, him or my roommate Cole. Okay. And Cole thinking he was just that he could.
I remember him.
And I think Chase Fox came up and said, "Oh wait, were we thinking 100 tacos?" And everyone's like, "Okay, we know they eat a lot, but 100." 50 each?
That's hilarious. 50 each?
That's just the dude. I think it might have been Chase. Dude,
that's hilarious.
Funny. Either Brandon or someone knows that story better than me.
Fox.
Let's see. Dragging in. Dirty Dozen came out.
Dirty Dozen. A great movie. That is 100% a movie that's a good one. You should definitely watch that because what's the plot of that? That's essentially like convicts or people that were like they essentially craft this dirty dozen. These 12 bastards.
Yeah, a group of death row convicts are trained for suicide mission in World War II.
Yes, so they pretty much are sent on a mission, like you said, suicide, where it's like you're probably not going to come back. Like, you're going to die, but like if you survive, you'll get your freedom.
Yeah, dude.
And so you should show a trailer for that.
Okay, we'll do that one. I was so we did Don't Look Back, a Jungle Book animated feature film. Yep. Wow. 205 million for 1967. That's
What's It Called as well came out.
Huge.
Did we already pass it?
Which one?
Keep going down. Not Jungle Book. Casino Royale.
I don't think did that come out this year?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's not on this list. It's Dirty Dozen trailer.
Dirty Dozen. Yeah, this is a good movie. I remember I watched this on VHS because my aunt had recorded it.
Vet District?
My aunt recorded it off a TV. Have you seen it?
I actually haven't.
It's dude, you'd really enjoy it. It's like a Tarantino style film.
How's Lee Marvin?
You are ordered by Allied command to select 12 general prisoners convicted by court.
I mean, you could.
Sentenced to be executed or
Charles Bronson.
It's one of those movies that's like, oh man, crap. Yeah, people have been
reimagining and like using
recycling some version of like something that's been there. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. The Dirty Dozen. This is awesome.
Like,
Brings
I feel
back
like
such good
there's
memories.
another movie that you watched the trailer for that was a very similar plot. But Lee Marvin was in the Point Blank movie that I brought, the one, the neo-noir one, yeah.
You can follow up in training and be shipped back here for immediate execution sentence. Or you can follow up in combat, in which case I will personally blow your brains out. Or you can do as you're told, in which case you might just get by. You hold it right there.
Dude, freaking,
This war was not started beyond
not as nerds. Because he was in The Wild Bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest Borgnine. Dude, Wild Bunch gave me respect for that man.
I'm telling you, you'll really like this movie.
I bet I will. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's old, but it's, I don't know.
No, I do. I appreciate older movies the more and more every day.
No, I know. Jim Brown, dude. Big Jim. That's a big man, dude.
It's also, this is cool because old film, like, yeah, they did whatever effects they did, but they weren't relying on any tricks other than what they were filming.
No, exactly. And
like,
it's like, it was very human. Like, look, they're just beating the shit out of some guy. Like, and there's nothing crazy about that.
The camera's sitting on a scene, you know, which I'm cool with cool directing and stuff.
I am,
but at the same time, I like the simple, like, I want to make sure the shot is right and let that thing unfold.
And two, to me, it's cool. I think it's cool to just see, like, oh, they thought this angle was cool.
Yeah,
this was a.
Oh,
probably
he was a James Bond villain.
He was. Yeah, he
was.
The
only one with freaking Lazenby, George Lazenby.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Because I watched that one for one of our years.
It's a big dude. Clint Walker's a big old boy.
That's a corn-fed brother.
That's a corn-fed boy. That is a big dude.
Yeah.
Killing Nazis. No, dude, I'm telling you, Dirty Dozen, fantastic movie. You should definitely watch it.
Yes, it's old. Nazi killing movies.
Yeah, dude. Yes, it's old and all that, but
no, if you really want to be a movie lover, you gotta be open to loving movies.
Absolutely. I just think that sometimes people avoid some of the older movies because they think, they're just going to be cheesy or it's going to be.
Oh, they just can't stand the production quality.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of it, they literally can't get past what modern product has done to them.
Yeah,
but if you
personally, I love the old stuff because too, again, I think you have to also too look at it seeing something old as new again and looking at it as though it's like, okay, imagine, yes, you know that like you've seen better and there's better production quality and better picture and film and all that, but like just understanding that, okay, but picture this as though it just came out and you're seeing it in the theaters. Yeah. Like you would have been impressed by this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
You would have been like,
hand Luke real quick here.
Yeah.
No, because I was watching, because I've been watching the Star Wars movies with my daughter, 2.5 years old, but we're showing, like, she's into Star Wars. She loves Darth Vader. She's just like Darth Vader. But, like, watching some of the old ones, even, like, seeing that knowing that, like, they're cheap little models, knowing it's a physical object versus being completely computer generated, even before AI, but just actual practical effects, just the physicality of it. I don't think there's anything you can do to replace that.
Yeah.
And I get this thing where I really like to pay attention to how long a shot will let a scene sit, you know? Like if there's a scene, say Paul Newman's talking, and then it just kind of stays on him for another second, like, why'd they linger that long? Not that it matters. It could be nothing. No. But it's just I have fun thinking about it.
Yeah,
because they'll take their time with older movies, which is nice that they'll take their time.
Well, and the fact of like what they're showing right there, like even this, like pause it. Like we look at some of this, it's like, oh, it's just like, you know, you look at that scene right there is like, oh, okay, what, like they're not really doing anything. It's like, no, like that's two guys with a gun. He's in jail. It's like, you imagine putting yourself in that position. You look at it as like, oh, that's so old. That's back in the day. It's like, okay, yeah, but imagine this is current. You imagine
modernize that. You got some guys like, yo, motherfucker, get down.
Yeah, when it's like he didn't at this time when this character in this movie this is happening to him. This wasn't back in the day. It's this current moment. So imagine you have two people. Over, you know, it's like, I found a
modern mindset.
Yeah, and I've found a way of like that's helped me with watching older movies and stuff. Is like imagining, like, well, yeah, I mean,
doing your best
like,
to modernize.
Yeah, it's like I've seen stuff like where now you watch an older movie and you're like, oh, that guy's just like turning around a corner and doing this with a gun and shooting.
Yeah,
bow, bow, and it's like, well, yeah, but that's what everybody did. Yeah, well, that's what everybody was doing then. Nobody was clearing corners like this. Yeah. Nobody was holding their hand.
Just know that guy represents a guy trying to kill somebody.
And the person in that, and like it's encapsulating the time. In a big way.
You're right.
It's encapsulating that time.
Rationalize those things.
Yeah.
I think this is where he's dreaming up his salad dressings right here. The man.
I don't think there'll ever be another man like him.
He's one of, but yeah, McQueen was a badass at that time too.
That's what I mean. I just don't think there'll be another one like him because it's like everything that'll come like
Paul Newman.
Yeah. Like I don't think there'll be like Paul Newman and stuff and like McQueen. I don't think there's going to be dudes like them.
Because it's going to seem too forced. I don't think the world allows for that kind of human to be brought up and exist anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, not against him, but yeah, man. I highly suggest listening. It's only like 147 minutes. He does a really
Missing Scientist.
Yeah,
I definitely will check it out.
Jesse Michaels is great, dude.
I'm very interested in it. Like I said, I mean,
this guy's up reality though, man.
Regardless of of what's going on, it's like it's weird. It's not.
Yeah, you can't ignore that.
Like I said, the fact that I think one of the things that throws up such a red flag to me or makes it all so crazy for me is the fact that it's like our government isn't like really addressing it. We're not really talking. It's not headline news.
I'm only
finding out about it because I'm scrolling Instagram or something, or I see a YouTube video, and it's like, oh, scientists are missing. I'm not seeing like news.
Man, but I even see things that are actual legitimate news things bringing it up, but it's like once and then it's like, okay, that's it. Yeah.
Like you would think it would be something. So that's what denotes to me. So that to me, it denotes that it's like, it is a big deal. It's a big deal because it's not being talked about because it's like, they don't want people to freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
So either.
And for me, like the the number, the quantity of it, and the specialization of it, and regardless of if it was being reported or not, I can't ignore. For me, that sets off up. That's interesting. There's whatever it is, there's something more going on.
And the fact for me that you can couple that with the fact that it's not being reported on, to me tells me that it's like, okay, it's like, okay, so they don't want to talk about it because it would probably scare the shit out of people. Because again, either some of these people may have been spies and things are going south and something's on the horizon and they're like, hey, we're pulling you out, come home. And they're
the other
getting
thing is,
them out.
like, with the way we think about the government, they could and could not be, and they could know that by not doing it, it's the reverse. Like,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
At that point, you're screwed.
Yes, and that's what I mean.
Where it's like also ways, too. Like, that's why I don't even think about them in there. I just think about these events happened. That's fucking weird.
Yes.
You know.
No, for sure.
But
I just see all the different red flags. It's like, okay, that's like raising another red flag. It's like it's already a red flag that all of these people that work in the same field are disappearing, but now you couple on top of that the fact that like we're not really talking about it, and it's like, okay, so if we're not talking about it, that makes me feel like it's probably actually something we should be concerned about, because
have you ever gone down the alley of it being like an intentional thing, but more in lines of three-body problem?
Like, I do. Me and Crane were talking about this, and I brought up the fact of three-body problem.
But like,
because I told him too,
wanting us to not wanting to slow us down a bit.
When I told Crane, I was like, imagine that, like, you know, or say that like we know something's on the horizon, and we're like, hey, you know, because that guy that left his house was just his gun and left everything behind. Yeah. Maybe he knows the drill, and he was contacted and said, hey, like, just get to this location.
Maybe he was activated.
Maybe get to this location. Well, where he got to that location, they kept him safe. And then because maybe they know something's on the horizon, and they're like, we're trying to protect our assets. Yeah. Maybe some of our assets have been deleted, and maybe we're trying to protect the rest of our assets, and we're like, hey, get to this location. That kind of aligns
with the one thing I was talking about, like the secret group.
Yeah. Where it's like, hey, we need you to be here. We need you to get to that. We need to keep you safe. We're not going to acknowledge this, because if we acknowledge, because that's the thing, again, either we're offing scientists that were working for other countries and giving information to other countries, we're offing them and they're disappearing to their countries, or these people, there's some enemy that's operating from within that is doing this, and that's another reason we're not talking about it. So to me, you think of all the reasons they're not talking about it, and it's like, it gets scary, because you realize that, like, okay, all these scenarios seem really possible.
It's something like the Host Seeker Association thing.
Podcast with my buddy Mike Phillip, and described what he calls the association.
There has arisen an insurgency group that have occupied extremely high positions in the Defense Department, inside the Central Intelligence Agency, inside some of the private aerospace corporations, and inside the military services. Okay, and I happen to know who they are. Okay, and what they've done is they've formed an association, and that they're working to try to drag the program back into the government.
This is a covert circle of 24 retired high-ranking officials from the DoD, CIA, and private aerospace, a secret brain trust quietly working to drag classified UAP programs back into the light of government oversight and towards transparency. They're all retired, and they all took...
I'm saying to you, this is good.
Yeah, definitely have to check it out.
I think he does a really good job.
Yeah, I definitely want to check him out, because I haven't really looked into it too much.
Yeah. No, he's right here. Like he talked
Michels?
Yeah, Jesse Michels. Because he's been on Rogan a couple times. That's how I found out about him. And then whenever Rogan was his, and just that's all, like, I feel like he'll do the quality of production that he'll do on his things and his clips and everything. I'm like, this is like me watching some cool thing that would have been on one of those sci-fi or whatever channels or whatever. Like, they did a documentary talking about cool stuff. Mm-hmm. Except, like, I guess he's, started doing it on his own, but he's got a legit production going on now.
No, yeah, that's badass, man. Looks like he definitely does have a legit production.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. But I guess it's rec time.
Go ahead. You ready?
Yeah, no.
I can go.
Yeah, you go.
All right. So I say, talk to a stranger, not a weird stranger, not somebody that you're scared of, but talk to a stranger. Meet somebody new, because the server is so unexplored. There's so many of us on the server. We're everywhere, and to think
You talking to our creators players?
No, people in real life.
Okay.
In real life.
So servers, that's some people talk about the world.
Yeah, it's just like a
I'm
joke.
too old then.
It's a joke where it's like just saying that it's like,
No, I get it
you
now.
know, unlocking new parts of the server. It's like, you know, you go to a place you've never been. It's like you unlock somewhere new. It's like you've never been to that spot. So it's like,
Yeah.
talk to somebody new, because it's like, meet somebody, have a conversation with somebody, because think about it. Like, the older you get, the less you tend to talk to strangers, the less you tend to meet new people. And it's like you kind of keep the same clique of people you have, and you don't go out of your way. But it's like, you know, there's a lot of people you just move past in your day-to-day life. And to think that, like, think of all the people you know, and then think of all the people you're never going to know or meet. So just do the best you can to try and meet somebody new, talk to somebody, have a conversation, maybe make a human connection. You never know who you meet, and you never know who you talk to. But again, just, you know, avoid weird people. If the person's weird, get out of there.
Hey, these are better.
Bring a whistle. Keep a whistle with you.
Yeah.
Because, like, if the person's weird,
Exactly.
blow a whistle.
Dude, I carry a rape whistle.
Yeah. Hey.
It didn't have to be a rape whistle, but
yeah,
that's my preferred whistle.
I prefer them as well.
Yeah. Okay, I remember mine. It's always try and have a mindset that I would consider as always value add. So people like, you know, I've been.
I agree.
My profession would be like, okay, we want to do that. Want to take that on? Is that a value add? Or okay, if we start doing this, is that actually adding value? Right? But
Yeah.
like, okay, as an individual, think of always adding value, but not to a like exhaustive thing, but almost be like, hey, like you're saying, if you get a chance to meet a stranger and interact with them, do something to have left a positive impact on them.
Yeah, make a connection.
Make a connection, right? Be like, add value to that scenario.
Because you don't know that person until you don't know what they're going through, and maybe how just helping them. We all like to be seen, and maybe it's nice to just like help somebody in their day to day life. Maybe you see somebody, just ask them, "How you doing today, man?"
Yeah,
just whatever. It's like,
exactly,
oh, good, man. Like, you know what's funny? One way I did it is last week. I was at the grocery store and I was at the self checkout. And I walked up like right at the same time. This other guy like walked up like right at the same time as me. We both got on these self-checkouts. I started checking my stuff real quick and then like trying to pay. And like he checked his stuff out super quick. He's like, doot, doot, doot,
and I saw he was trying to steal us, so I tackled him.
And so, he's checking out super quick. And I'm checking out and I'm thinking I'm being fast. And I look, I'm like, damn, he's done. He's about to get his receipt, where I'm still like about to hit pay, select my payment type.
Help me out.
And so like he got done. And I was like, I looked at him and he's looking around like, seems like he's in a hurry, kind of seems serious.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I was like, that was quick, man. And he looked at me, he was like, yeah, I beat you, huh? And he smiled. I was like, yeah, I beat you, huh? And then I laughed.
You were both erasing each other.
Yeah. And I laughed and I was like, you got good technique, man. He started laughing. He's like, yeah, man, take it easy, brother. And just walked out.
Man.
But it was just funny because I looked at him. I was like, I was pretty fast, man. He was like, yeah, I beat you, huh?
Dude, how long? When was that?
Last week. Like at the grocery store,
like one of the best,
at the
genuine
store.
human interactions. Like in there,
because it was like neither one of us said anything, but it was almost like there was a subtle like
checking out. You're just doing whatever your lives are. You get there, you're like, wait,
yeah, yes,
and you're immediately just having a game
in a competition with somebody,
and you both left being cool with it.
Yeah, and I was like, that was pretty quick, man. He was like, I beat you, huh? And I was like, damn,
dude,
now it makes me feel like you actually were trying to beat me. Like that's pretty funny.
That's a beautiful story, man.
But yeah, so yeah, talk to somebody because hey. He did, like I said, he looked like he was serious. He looked like he was in a hurry. But when I said that to him, his whole demeanor changed, and he just smiled and laughed. And he's like, "I beat you," huh? Right? Like, because he was sitting there realizing that, like, oh, I thought I was gonna be quick, and he was like,
the thing is, he might have been serious all day, and he was just like doing things like, "I'm gonna be efficient and quick." He'd be like, "Chris," be like, blah, 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 and he'd be like that. He'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that was pretty fast, huh?"
Yeah. But he just like cracked up, got his receipt, put it in his pocket, and he was walking out laughing. Then he turned back. He's like, "Have a good day, man." I was like, "You too, dude."
Dude.
But that's what
exactly. And that was a nice little value add right there.
And hey, who know, he might have talked to somebody else and just
and he
told
might
them
not
the story.
He might not beat his wife that night. I don't know.
We hope not.
Hopefully he did what he had to do.
He didn't beat his wife any night.
Unless she was trying to kill him.
Yeah, unless she was acting a fool and talking down on Laura Palmer and Agent Cooper. I mean, then at that point, if you talk down on Laura Palmer, Agent Cooper,
the modern interpretation of the word wife is a bit narrow.
Wife, that's a 4-letter word, man. That's disrespectful around
for
here.
that reason.
Basing.